Hey everyone, Shoe Nice again. Welcome to KC is Raw YouTube channel. Gaming, hunting, and flea marketing. If you don't like and subscribe and share his channel everywhere, I will see you in your nightmare. Thank you. Enjoy the show.
The following announcement has been paid for by Casey is Raw.
What up, guys? My name is Casey is Raw. Welcome to Saturday is Raw. I got MK3 Kratos on the call. Welcome. How you doing today, bro?
God damn, I could have one phased the Templar in Destiny 2 and the Vault of Glass, but how long that intro was.
Well, I mean, I had the little shout out, and then maybe I should cut the Saturday is Raw a little
I'm just
shorter,
fucking with you,
but
Casey. Don't worry. I'm just fucking with you. Shit.
well, I mean, I know there's a lot of time people complain about my intros for my gaming. They're not as long as they used to be, like 3 minutes. And here's the thing: reason I like building those intros because I like to have a bunch of stuff in there. But people made a good point, so I try to get it down to a minute and a half. So, um, plus,
You're doing good, though. You're doing good. On the intros, I mean.
So, you were talking about the new Skull. What was it called? Skull and Crossbones. That's for
Skull
the
and Bones, yeah.
Xbox, right?
It's
Skull and
it's an
Bones.
Ubisoft game in general. Let's just say, for all the people who want to be a pirate in the game, do not get this one. Go with Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think Sea
Let's
of Thieves
just
is more
say
interacting than.
let's just say it's a lot worse than what they play in the height in the little like gameplay videos on that Ubisoft uploaded in the trailers. The one glaring problem, the ship itself has a stamina bar, meaning your ship can get tired.
Oh my God! What?
Yeah.
How could your ship get tired? I mean, I can.
Well, apparently
Well, then
Ubisoft
again,
made
at
that.
that time,
Ubisoft
I mean, you
Singapore
had
made that
people.
possible. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Come on, I can. Granted, now think about it. It's not like they had engines like that in the time, so and people
You
were
also have to
rowing
remember this is the
during that
same
time.
Skull and Bones game that promoted in the multiplayer version coming soon that you could equip rocket launchers to your pirate ship.
What?
Yeah,
What?
they mentioned that in passing
Okay,
in
now
one of the trailers at Summer Game Fest. Was it last year? I'm like, rocket launchers. What do you mean? Is
mm,
this a pirate game or just the U.S. Navy in the 1600s with modern technology? Seriously.
oh, I think I might. I was going to say I think I lost you for a second, but
I'm fine. I'm
I
here.
think I was going to say is like the stat. Get the ship getting tired. I can understand that because you know it's not like I said. It's not like they had engines.
Mm-hmm.
People were rowing the boat, but then when you said they're going to have rocket launchers,
In the
I'm like,
multiplayer version,
okay,
yeah.
then that's
You could build your ship and
stupid.
you could
It's like
equip rocket launchers to it,
pirate
which
game.
is
I want to be
close to as realistic as
I don't know if
possible.
it's my end. Oh no. I think we're having that problem again, Kratos. Let
Yeah,
me
we are.
switch.
It's the
I hate to do
background.
this because I
Background.
love my back.
Mhm.
God dang it! God dang it! All right, well, let's go back to go. Damn it! I like my new backgrounds I made. But like, if it makes the show run
Hey,
a little bit
Talbish, hey,
better, then
Rose,
I
or Dave
rather
Rose.
axe it. Yeah, I was
Mm-hmm.
gonna say hi to them as well. We got Dave Rose in the chat, and we also got Talbish. If it would like to. So next week, guys, I'm gonna try to. Actually, tomorrow. I was planning to do this today, but I was having body pains that I didn't want to leave the house or the apartment. I still call it his house, but apartment. That I was planning to pick up a gaming laptop that my best friend pointed out. Um, so I was planning to do that today, but that's something I'll be doing tomorrow to go get a cool,
Mm-hmm.
good gaming laptop. Then also, I need to get one of the things. Honestly, I need to get better internet, and I know but I got a million things on my mind, and it's hard to remember everything. Like I had to go to the tax agency Friday, and I was worried about it because it wasn't my end. I was worried about it. It was um my mom's taxes for last year. And I was like, oh God, this is gonna be bad. And find out that there's no point doing her taxes because I
She
don't know. I
won't.
guess she stopped receiving her. Well, you're supposed to do taxes on it. I think how close it was. Like she passed in July. Yeah, that's still a few months from the April cutoff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. They said don't really do it. So that was one big thing off my head.
Yeah.
But we got video game member in the chat. Welcome. And let's see. Talvish says he still has a 1767K
It's an i7
desktop.
600,
Bills
6700K desktop. He wants to get a 12 Gen i7 desktop soon.
For me, I have no idea. I know a ton about video games, computers. That's one thing I
I'm a
don't
tech
know.
guy at heart anyway.
Like I know how.
I'm a tech guy at heart, so I know what he meant
Well,
by when he said 17. He meant i7, not 17.
oh, that's why. Oh, okay, because that's why he put in later on that I-17.
Yeah.
But
But
that's one thing I definitely. I'm planning to go get that. He says that i17, i7 6700K is still pretty decent. Got a guy in here, buddy boy. Welcome. So, let me bring up.
we know, Dave.
Dave says my connection still sucks.
We know.
We'll work on it. Actually, it seems like it's doing better since I got rid of the moving background. It sucks because I put a lot of work in several of these backgrounds, and I like having interacting background, but
considering how old
I'm
your
gonna bring
computer
up.
could be, it could be slowing it down immensely with the bandwidth.
Oh, probably true.
Especially if you have to stream up
It's
for a long
that
period of time.
internet. It's probably. Oh, I didn't even have it up that long.
No, I'm talking about like for
I'm
your
gonna bring
longer
up the
streams.
thumbnail. Oh, go ahead. I hear you.
I was just saying, like, sometimes like the bandwidth for like computers can be slower, depending on how old it can be and with how much stuff you have that's trying to work all at once. Like if you have too many things open, it can slow down your computer immensely. But if you have way too many
Well, this
things
is the only
open, you
page.
can fry your heart. You can fry your entire motherboard in some cases.
This is the only page I got up. And I know people are like, well, Casey, it could be the. Well, this is the only page I got up right now. It's just the StreamYard. And people are like, well, Casey, it's probably all that porn you watch on there. Like, one, I don't watch the porn on this laptop. I learned my lesson, what it does to computers. So, no. This thing has never, well, minus some of the topless pictures you see on X. Jesus. I'm not going to some porn sites doing anything. So, oh
my god!
Oh, we got. Yeah, I was going to say the Constanza says my air fryer has better connection than Casey's internet.
Damn, dude.
Well, I mean, I did just have my my hotspot internet refresh, and I used both of them all up. I used one to download a bunch of patches, some of them on my Switch. So, one of them I'll be wanted to record is the plumbers don't wear tie on the Nintendo Switch. It's a it's a game that's infamous on the 3DO that finally got a modern version. So I will be doing a gameplay probably after this, after the show's done.
Okay.
But but have you watched the newest Dark Side of the Ring?
About Buff Bagwell?
No, this one's about Terry Gordy.
Oh,
The
right.
one of the he was 1/3 of the fabulous Freebirds.
Yeah, I remember. I have
He
I have not watched a single episode this current season, and I'm ashamed to say that as a fan of wrestling.
It's been pretty good. I think the most outrageous one is still the Buff Bagwell episode out of the 3.
Mhm.
I think this is the Terry Gordy episode is back to where the normal Dark Side of the Ring episodes are, where
I heard. I do remember one. He had he was in a car accident or something that caused him to have to relearn everything essentially from like how bad the brain he had as a brain injury or something.
oh, you talking about Terry Gordy? What
Yeah.
they said? Well, what they said, he might have had a car accident, but um, I what happened was that he had like he really bad overdose.
It was
He
an
was on an
overdose.
airplane.
I thought it was a car accident. Just
Oh well, I
oh
know Buff Bagwell had a really nasty uh car accident, but
yeah,
you're
he
probably
had a
thinking about that.
yeah. Buff Bagwell had some stories to tell about like the car accident, like a storyline with him being in a there supposedly was a storyline that Eric Bischoff pitched to him about like him being legit like kayfabe like dead from like a what was it, a plane crash or something? Like they try to play it off like he died in a plane crash and would come back like he was a ghost or some shit. I'm like, the
How
fuck?
could you play him as a ghost? I'm like, was he gonna come out like? I
He was
mean,
gonna be in the ring, but like he would be like he would be
like he
like
would show
a
up.
zombie essentially, essentially a zombie, a living zombie. It's like
Hmm.
Eric, that's one of your worst ideas today.
Sounds like a Vince Russo idea to me.
Either
That's
way, it still never came to the see the light of day.
but what Dark Side of the Ring, they were saying that Terry Gordy was off to on an airplane heading to Japan with Dr. Death Steve Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Terry Gordy decided to take a bunch of muscle relaxers or
Oh
pain
shit!
pills that he started like having trouble breathing. And I guess that caused a lot of issues, but um, when he finally got out of that, he was never the same. They said he had to relearn a lot of like how to walk and everything. It really fucked him up. And they said he was never the same when after that. Like
Mm-hmm.
he was just like a shell of a person that used to be. Like
Yep.
Mick Foley said he was at indie show. I think this is before he came to the WWF. Like he was at ECW probably at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and Terry Gordy was there in the ring, and he was signing autographs, and like 2 people came up to him while a bunch of people came up to Mick Foley, and Mick Foley wanted to tell people like that's the legend in the ring right now, not me. So it was a sad story. I mean, it was good story though. I mean, it's crazy. And like he met up with oh gosh. My mind went blank. Uh, the guy who works in the WWE right now. Oh god, what his fucking name is.
Bruce Pritchard?
No, he's part of the Freebirds.
Oh, Michael Hayes.
Yeah, Michael Hayes. My mind just went blank. Michael
What
P
Garvin.
S Hayes, and they were saying they were pretty much like their version of the Four Horsemen. Like they were living up their gimmicks. They were
Yeah,
going to bars.
I'm familiar with the Freebirds because I remember the Junkyard Dog Dark Side of the Ring episode where a fan almost legit shot Michael Hayes because he thought he blinded Junkyard Dog for real. Literally pulled out a gun and thought they were going to intimidate or attack Junkyard Dog at ringside. One guy
Yeah.
said, "Don't worry, dog.
Oh,
I got your back,"
yeah.
and pulled out a freaking like
A gun.
like a revolver, long nose revolver. Come on, what
That was
the
back
hell is
in
this guy doing?
dude, well, that's back in the day when people didn't know wrestling was fake. They were thought as real as boxing. Like
It was about as real as a heart attack during those times. You always took a heart attack seriously during that
Yeah.
time too.
it's not like later on in the late from the mid to late 80s where people were starting to get a clue that it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously during the 90s, we know it was fake then. So, but people did stupid shit. Like there's wrestlers got stabbed all the time. Like
just ask Roddy Piper.
Yeah, I think God, I know it was Shane. I'm having a hard time remembering things.
Nancy
right now.
Benoit had someone pray for her, try to atone her of her sins because she was with Kevin Sullivan.
Oh, that's right. They even talked about that on the episode because
I heard a rumor about a legitimate reason on why Nancy possibly left. This is all rumor and speculation, though. Supposedly, she refused to do a topless angle, and that's why she was fired from WCW.
Well, they couldn't do that. I mean, WC. Well, early.
This was in '97, though. This was in '97.
Oh, then they
96,
couldn't do
97.
that. During that time, they really couldn't do that. Like, yeah, they were pushing the envelope. Then
I mean, Jacqueline had her top ripped off of her on Great American Bash that year.
Yeah, but was it intentionally?
Accidental, but still. There was a rumor claimed that she left the company on bad terms because Kevin Sullivan wanted her to do a topless angle.
I never heard of that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, now knowing a lot of these the promoters, I mean, shit, look at Vince. I mean, some of the crazy things he wanted to have done, especially back in, I think it was 03 or 04 is when he wanted to do that incest angle with Stephanie.
Yep. If this rumor is true, it does line up because the Great American Bash was a couple weeks later after she got let go.
Well, as this episode,
it does line up a little bit, possibly.
But as this episode, I think it's a good episode. Is it the best? No, I would probably rank this as in the middle. Like, I think the Earthquake episode's probably the third place. This is second place, and Buff Bagwell episode out of season 5 is number 1. But a lot of times these episodes, I never said, "Oh, this episode sucked." I would say, "Oh, wow, that one was a really good one." Like
I'm waiting for the Brutus Beefcake episode.
Well, you don't have to wait too long. That's coming up this week. So, yeah, because I looked into it because I already bought the whole series on YouTube, and they already said Brutus the Barber Beefcake is the next episode. So, like, oh, cool.
Okay.
What sucks is that I think they air it live on Tuesdays. I had to wait until the very next day for it to show up on YouTube.
They do air it live on Tuesdays, yeah. Tuesday night.
Yeah, so I had to wait for the next day to watch it on YouTube. But that's okay.
Yep.
So, I brought up episode X-Men 97. The reason I brought X-Men 97 is like, well, this was one of my favorite cartoons back in the day. And I'm talking about the cartoon that this is expanding on back then. I think 97 is the year that they discontinued.
I think it was I think it would have been the year it was discontinued. Yeah, right.
Because I know it wasn't because started in 97 because I mean they had 5 seasons that had been in like 2002, and I know that because I watched all the episodes back in the day, and I was kayfabe.
Nothing never came close to what the original X-Men did as a cartoon. No other X-Men cartoon came close.
I would probably
not
agree.
X-Men Evolution.
I can't.
Definitely not X-Men Evolutions.
Well, I
X-Men
can't.
Evolution was it was okay, but it had a shitty series finale. Very shitty.
I can't comment to it, but they looked horrible. But when
everyone got their first glimpse of X-23 on that show, in the cartoon version, I'm like, she looks like a teenager. Yet in the Logan movie, you portrayed her as a kid. Make up your fucking minds.
Is that her?
Daphne Keene was like Daphne Keene, the kid who played X-23 in the Logan movie, was like 11 to 12 years old.
Well, yeah, she was a kid.
That's my point. But in the cartoon, you portray X-23 as a fully grown teenager. In her introduction episode.
Well,
as
yeah,
remember Logan as a daughter of Wolverine.
Well, movies are infamous of not always following canon to the cartoons,
but the thing is, even in the comics, she was portrayed more as a kid. Even in the comics, she was portrayed as a kid.
Then it's more related to the comics, then. But
that's what I'm saying.
But I really loved the original, or the animation back for X-Men back in the early 90s. I loved it. I watched it from the beginning all the way to the very end. I actually had one of the VHS tapes, and I still have this VHS tape that Pizza Hut gave away. That was episode 1 of X-Men, and I loved it. And I think they had 2 of them out. There was the next episode, but I only had episode 1. But
the one thing I will always hate in like X-Men Evolution, the original X-Men live action movies, compared to the original X-Men cartoon, is how each one portrayed Rogue. 'Cause
Well,
Dave Rose says they stole Rogue's ass.
that's
The
that's what they
fuck?
say. That's what they say. But when I was watching it, I don't think you had a
I mean,
chance. To,
if you think about it, in the live action X-Men movies, Rogue was a teenager, a legit teenager. In the X-Men Evolution, she was a teenager.
but in the original comic, in the original,
In the original cartoon, she was a grown ass woman with a fat ass,
yes, I think
very
this
fat
time.
ass.
See, I didn't get the chance to look at her ass, but uh,
I was more enthralled by her southern accent and the way she pronounced sugar.
well, back then, I mean, that's well, I heard they had the same voice actors from the original series. So
That's
I
very
mean,
good. That's gonna keep this cash cow going. If they keep those same voice actors, that's gonna keep the cash cow going. That's for damn sure.
well, I don't know if Dave Rose was. He said that they stole her ass, but I don't know what's his opinion about the episodes if he watched them. I thought they were
I
awesome.
think he's referring to the X-Men Evolution, possibly, or
No, no,
the current
they're talking about
adaptation of.
yeah, he's talking about the 97 version of
Mhm,
Rogues. But um yeah, I watched the first two episodes the day after
mhm.
and I really enjoyed them. I think the first one they had to have some they had to kind of give you catch up a little bit. So
Yeah,
so it's a year later after the last episode. This is right
yeah. So
after.
basically, like after, I don't want to spoil like who died at the end of the show, the original show. So I'm not going to say that here.
Well, I mean, if they gotta know what happened because for this part, because I mean, we're gonna talk about a little bit of stuff. There might be some spoilers, so
Hmm.
might, but this part is from almost 30 years ago. So
Hmm.
in the last episode for the original series, uh, Xavier was on his deathbed and he's about to die until he was saved from oh this one mutant from across the galaxy picked his ass up and took him away. That was the with their technology they were able to save him, but he couldn't come back. So
Interesting.
yeah, for him to survive, he couldn't come back. He had to go live there and live on their technology or by their
Hmm.
medical technology.
Okay.
So he's technically not dead, but because his disappearance, they decide to say he's dead in the new
Hmm.
series, even though they recognize what happened. They hint at that. But so Cyclops take over the X-Men as the leader, obviously. Dave says the sheer. I assume that's the person who picked his ass up.
I
But
think that he's referring to the race that picked them up to have him
yeah,
survive under technology.
yeah. So uh yeah, it was a year later after that episode. And I think that's good instead of what happened present day. Like how could he tell what happened 20 or 30 years later when
Hmm.
you got to remember Jubilee was still a teenager and like this episode she's still a teenager, so it made sense if this was a year later. So, one of the things is that Cyclops and Jean Grey
Jean Grey,
is gonna they're gonna have a kid. That she's pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah. So, um, so there's gonna be some spoilers, like I said. So, one of the things they want to do is they want to. Well, Jean Grey was thinking about leaving the group because they're gonna have a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So it was debating if they were gonna do it or not. If you guys seen the trailer, I believe they slipped that Magneto was going to be the new leader of the X-Men.
Interesting.
Yeah, because he was in Xavier's will, gave everything to him, his fortune, the mansion, and X-Men to him. So
that's interesting.
But honestly, episode 1 leading to episode 2, so it just got better with episode 2, and we were talking about Angry Joe before we were started up. Angry Joe was able to watch episode 3, and they were saying episode 3 is even better. So, watching episode 1 and 2 really got me hooked on the cartoon again. Where when I got home Friday night, I just started watching a bunch of episodes again because I really loved it. I mean, they did modify the X-Men theme song a little bit. They modified and updated the intro, but I do agree with some people. I do not like what they did with Morph, where they changed his character completely. Even though I guess he's supposed to be general neutral character, but there's points he looked like the same Morph, like he was the male Morph from the original series. So, I mean, maybe they're saying that was him all along like that, but I don't know. I mean, I was never into the comic books, like the lore of the comic books, but and I didn't get a chance to look at Rogue's ass. Maybe I'll start trying to look at her ass, see if it changed. I know back then, yeah, she did have a sweet ass back in the original series.
Dude,
but
in all the episodes I watched growing up, after it ended, she had a fucking badonkadonk.
Dude, she was actually hot for being a cartoon. But I think one of the things, well, obviously the way she was drawn and her, I don't know, her southern accent was a turn on too.
Sugar.
Yeah,
I'm
sugar.
like, what the fuck?
But I didn't
whoever
watch
whoever was her voice actor pulled off that term very well for in the southern accent. Pulled off that term very fucking well.
Well, maybe she was originally from the South or something, because Gambit, I mean, he's obviously from like the Louisiana area because he's Cajun. So, I mean, only like that area really has that accent. So,
Yep.
But I didn't watch anyone's review before getting this, so I went in blind and hoping for the best, and it was very good. It actually really, gave me hope for the seasons. They already greenlight season 2 already.
Damn. That's only
Yeah.
what, 3 episodes so far.
Yeah, well, I think they already had enough money into it that
Yeah.
they already greenlighted it. I
Well,
think.
I already know that
Oh,
like what?
we got another caller coming in. He probably wants to talk about X-Men. We got Devious Dave Rose entering.
All right, you
Nice.
jokers. Time to set you straight.
What's
First
up,
of
Mark?
all, it's clear
I can't
that
hear him.
the animation. You can hear me, right?
I hear you. You're fine.
It's clear the
No, I can't
animation is
hear
a
Rose.
downgrade
Dave Rose.
from the previous. You also see, I say they stole Rogue's ass because there's memes about it now that you can see that the animation certainly showed that she was female. And now not only they took her ass away, but they don't even show, sort of breasts. It's sort of like a flat chest, and it's clearly on purpose. The director was actually fired prior to the release of the show.
Yeah, that's right. I
There's,
heard about that too.
there's
Yeah.
a lot going on, and they initially said it, and they always do, is they announced that they were going to make it woke. And it's funny because all these issues that they want to try to transpose onto the whole situation with transgenders and discrimination and all this sort of thing, like it's basically they announced that they were going to put it on there, but it wasn't something like nobody was talking about non-binary status back in '97, right?
Nope.
No.
So that's the funniest irony is that they're trying to put this stuff into a show that takes place in 1997 where this stuff wasn't even discussed. I haven't watched any of the stuff, Casey. I'm boycotting it because again, this is what they do. They're unoriginal, but they also want to destroy. So they take a favored franchise, and I mean, there's too many examples to count, but they take a favorite franchise and they rape it and destroy it and pervert it to try to destroy the entire thing. So they're again putting all these things in, like they were saying about, and again I'm referring to articles that were written about it, but like Storm, for example, and I did see the trailers. But Storm, for example, they're saying like, oh, she's more masculine, blah blah blah. It's like douchebags, early '80s. That was her fucking costume. She pulled that off and she did it, and and there was no imposition of anything to do with gender politics, because that's what it is, gender politics. It's just like, how about we not even question that, because it doesn't even add to the story and we just enjoy a good comic book. So like again, like are we gonna just consider any character with short hair or shaved size of their head basically lesbian or binary or whatever? Like yeah, exactly. It's just like, but there's all these different, again, with comic books you could do so much, and you can create all these different types of characters that by focusing on like the hairstyle and then trying to claim it's like, oh, this is a political statement, blah blah blah. It's fucking pathetic. And they say that the X-Men has always been woke, but I would have to disagree, because what they are claiming the discourse was in the 1960s with desegregation, civil rights laws and stuff is totally different from now, which is bake the cake, bigot, or I'll sue you, or you've got to allow men in female change rooms. That's the woke of today, not like, hey, maybe we should have one drinking fountain instead of two.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I would love to know your thoughts on if you've seen the Crow trailer, Dave. I would love to know your
I
thoughts on
did
the
not
Crow
actually
trailer.
see it. I saw sort of like, again, scrolling through social media, I saw like a preview of it or like a portion of it. I didn't watch the entire thing.
Yeah, it's like a 3-minute trailer too.
but I did hear, like, I did read from the article talking to the original director, and he thought basically it was unnecessary.
A lot of fans are thinking that. I'm willing to give it a chance, considering I have seen the original and the 3 sequels that came after it.
I've never actually seen the sequels, although I did hear about them.
City of Angels, which was number 2, sucked ass. Salvation was more.
Actually, no, hold on. I did see that one, City of Angels.
Yeah, that one was not good. That City of Angels was not good. Salvation was actually Kirsten Dunst's last movie she did before she got the Mary Jane Watson role of Spider-Man. That came out during in the turn of the century. Wicked Prayer had David Boreanaz and Danny Trejo, and you still fucked it up. But even with those 2 names in the movie, Angel from Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Machete.
Yeah, see, here's the thing though, is that okay, for example, and I can't really vouch for it, but there are people that do. The remake of The Italian Job, for example.
Yep.
Okay, acceptable for a remake. There's been a fair bit of movies that have been sort of remakes, and some that have even changed the title, but it was essentially the same sort of movie, you know. But right now, the market is just saturated with remakes. That's the problem. Is there's no originality. Like, if, for example, if there was 1,000, let's say 100 original movies compared to 1 remake a year, I'd be okay with it. But everything's a fucking remake now.
Yeah, well, they even redid Forrest Gump in like Bollywood recently.
What?
Yeah, there's a Bollywood version of Forrest Gump.
Oh my god, I gotta see what that looks like.
No, but hold on. We're not going to compare Bollywood to Hollywood. Okay, exactly. Bollywood.
I saw this trailer on IGN. I'm like, what is this? And it said the Bollywood version of Forrest Gump. I'm like, what?
Well, that's the thing, though, is that it's a third world country shithole with thieves, and they can't create anything new, so they steal everything.
Yeah, they even had like oh my god, the only good Bollywood movie I've seen was their adaptation of E.T. making this one guy smart. I'm like, huh?
What? I've never seen any Bollywood movies, so I can't comment on it, but I still
saw at least 2 back when I was in high school. At least 2.
I would still love this. Is it still this guy played as Forrest Gump, or is like it's loosely like parody of it or something like that?
What I'm talking about? The E.T. one?
No, the Forrest
Gump.
Jeez. Oh my god!
It looks like we got a Forrest Gump here on the call right now.
It's almost to the T a Hindu version of Forrest Gump. Almost to a T.
Is it like his actual name was Forrest Gump too, or
no? It's a different name.
Case, you're not getting it. They just stole the idea and made it theirs.
Okay.
It's literally.
Have you never seen like a knockoff movie like made in the third world that's like, oh, Matrix or Terminator or whatever? Like, they literally steal every scene.
They made a Hindu version of Rambo. Let's get that hit out there. They made a Hindu version of freaking Rambo.
I think it's Turkish Rambo, but
Turkish,
the Turkish. Casey, if you like obscure shit, the Turkish Star Wars is.
Oh my god!
They stole scenes from Star Wars, but they, used it with like Turkish acting and actors and sets, and it's famous because it's so bad.
No,
now the reason why I even brought up the new Crow movie. Everyone is shitting on it. I was originally going to make a video about this a couple of days ago, but I'm holding off on it. But everyone that's shitting on it, including Ernie Hudson and Rochelle Davis, both of which who have never even seen the new trailer yet. They're just basing it off of like the Brandon Lee name being used in the movie, about it not being good. I'm like, so what? Brandon Lee is Eric Draven. What has Brandon Lee ever done before The Crow? He turned down the opportunity to play his own father in a movie. Exactly.
Well, I mean, minus the Crow, I couldn't really tell you what other
My
movie.
point exactly. What has he done since, like,
Well,
pre-Crow movie? What has he done before then?
I was going to say
Absolutely
since the
nothing,
Crow.
almost.
I mean, I thought you were just going to say since the Crow. I was like, well, he's been dead since.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he's
I corrected myself. But
he's-
everything
he's-
afterwards, What is Ernie Hudson most famous for? Ghostbusters. What is Rochelle Davis most famous for? The Crow, because she hasn't done anything in acting since. Because she was traumatized, quote unquote, by what happened to Brandon Lee on set.
yeah, but that was a freak accident. That was something.
A freak accident that made a dead man famous for 30 years.
Well,
For all the wrong reasons at this point.
It's more of a freak accident than what happened on the movie Rust. Like,
oh yeah,
that was more negligent.
That was negligence. Yes.
Yeah,
that one was negligent.
Yeah.
What happened with Brandon Lee was a complete freak accident. Even though there was
that's what they say. That's what they say.
Yeah. Supposedly Bruce Lee was cursed. That's what I heard too. Bruce Lee was cursed. Like any male heir he has will die a gruesome death or some shit for selling Chinese martial arts to America or some shit. Secret Chinese martial arts that were never supposed to be taught outside the country.
Well, like, I don't see. It's sad that Dave's gonna boycott the new X-Men movie.
I'm not shitting on the Crow. I'm not shitting on the original Crow text.
I don't think he's listening to you, Casey.
I'm just saying, like, the sequels, the new. I'm willing to give the new Crow a chance at least. Everyone's already shitting on it because of the fact that it's
somebody get this guy some opium or something to get him to. Yeah, you really have it. You really have it in for the original Crow and Brandon Lee. Sounds like
I bought the movie on my Xbox and I have it on my Microsoft account. I watched it with my fiance just a couple weeks ago. You're
raging against the machine here. It's I don't know.
Seriously, the new Crow movie, I'm giving it a chance. And based on the 3-minute trailer, it looked real nice.
Just got a 3-minute rant on fucking Brandon Lee.
But Brandon Lee himself, he hasn't really, like I said, he didn't really do anything outside of the Crow movie that's memorable. Outside of the Crow movie,
because just like Casey said, he died during the filming of the Crow. Of course, he didn't do anything after. Like, what is this, ghost starting commercials or something?
Before the Crow. Before.
Well, maybe this was one of his first roles, and it was just so impressive that it just, again, it's like with James Dean, it's like he died too early, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. like I'm saying, Tex, it may be a John Wick knockoff because of and I'm not a fan of Post Malone at all. But the only reason why the song is passable is because Ozzy's in it.
I didn't see
the one doing like the chorus.
I didn't see that text was in the chat. I just looked up. I was like, "Oh, comments." I was like, and text is in the chat. It was saying first is Kratos really shitting on the original Crow?
I'm not shitting on it. I'm shitting on the 3 sequels we had after it. I'll shit on those to the end of fucking time.
Casey, weren't you also talking about a new computer earlier on the show? Were you talking something about computers?
A gaming laptop, he said. Yeah.
I want to beat you now. I literally want to beat you with
Dex, I'm not shitting on the original Crow. Don't you worry. I love the movie. I just don't understand why people are comparing a 30-year-old movie to something that's intended for a new audience.
Okay, riddle me this. Can you improve the Mona Lisa? Because if you can't, then no point in trying.
Yeah, well,
That's the mentality and view on this situation. I'm torn because again, when it comes to because The Crow is based on a comic book. We all started with great segue, Dave. Awesome job, Dave. But with comic books, The Crow is a comic book. That's how it started. Should that stuff be allowed to? It's not like okay, it's different from say The Godfather. Okay, it has. Look at Batman. Look at all these different heroes, Superman, whatever. There's different ways to interpret them, and I think a great example is all the different Batman movies that have come out. Because again, the interpretation, just like with the artist, for example, Frank Miller's is different from what's his name, Kane. Bob Kane, like it's all these different interpretations. And when it comes to comic books, I am leaning on the side that it's okay for a new movie to come out to reinterpret that character. Although, the message has to remain the same, no matter whether, it's the Batman movie actor, Pattinson, or Christian Bale it's basically the ultimate thing with Batman is he's there to protect, the people. How they express themselves is obviously, what the director is doing. So that different version of interpretation, when it comes to comic book characters, I think is appropriate and is allowable. I can understand why people don't want the original touch because,
I just looked up something. Sorry to cut you off. I just looked up something about like one of the writers for the show. One of the writers for the new Crow movie is the comic book maker, James O'Barr.
That's good. Then he's gonna know how, like, what's gonna be true or not.
Yeah, and the Crow has always been an ultra violent comic book. So this kind of fits that.
I'm not arguing on the side of people that don't want to have it remade. I'm just basically saying I can understand where they're coming from, but again, my reasoning is the rule with comic books is that the writer, the artist is interpreting differently, and you also have multiverses and stuff. So that justifies the making of a new movie.
See, I can understand.
I can understand where Tex is coming from. Eric Draven version should have died with Brandon Lee. I can understand that. But this is, like I said, this is more for a different audience, a different timeline, different time in the world. That's where I start having problems. This whole for a different time bullshit. Because, for example, one of my favorite pulp characters, the Shadow, doesn't belong in any other time other than the 1930s. True. Like for example, G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe takes place in the 80s. I don't need it to be updated. And there's been so many movies where we watch characters that are set in a certain time, and it doesn't it doesn't need to be updated because it takes away from the story. It's set in the Stranger Things, for example. Stranger Things takes place in the 80s. You're not going to fucking update that, and they better not. Like say 20 years from now, be like, oh, let's have it take place during the 2000s. If they do a reboot of Stranger Things, I already know.
No, but see, that is the direction that things have been going. This is what I'm arguing against. Is that you have, and again, I'm not arguing about the Crow thing. I'm arguing in general is that you have the unoriginality and you have this desire to try to make things more woke. So you will have the possibility that there's going to be some motherfucker out there that's going to be like, yo, let's just take something that, only makes sense in that time and make it available for today's audience.
Tex says his biggest issue with the new Crow film is the amount of digital gore in the trailer. Instead, he says practical effects will always look better. I agree with that. Like,
I'll agree with that too. Like shooting at a man as he's walking upstairs kind of looks a little unrealistic, even
Casey.
by Crow movie standards.
Casey, after Tex's comment, you are certainly not sounding like the dumbest person here on this call.
Oh,
To be quite honest, there, Tex, everyone fucking knows that practical effects are always better than digital ones. So, I mean, that's kind of stupid on your end there to state that.
well,
And also, again, your obsession with gore and stuff. See a psychologist or something, because why would you want to see people suffer? It's very anti-human, anti-Christian, and certainly not becoming of a gentleman.
But
Well-
to steal a line from Tex, I don't think we don't necessarily have to be a bunch of pearl clutching church ladies.
That's a good impression. He stutters just as much as you.
I don't think we should be a bunch of pearl clutching church ladies at this point, because of the fact that Eric Draven, the character, should have, like Tex said, should have died in 1994. I honestly was not expecting Bill Skarsgård to play that character until it was announced that he was. And I'm like, how is this going to work in a modern setting? So I was a bit skeptical about it from this jump when it was announced that they were reviving Eric Draven and like Shelley.
So is it a remake or a continuation then?
It's a complete reboot. Reboot.
You know what? When it comes to things like this, because this has happened in the past, just let it happen and just wait till it comes out. I mean, there's no point in like trying to speculate, because just a little trailer is not going to certainly tell you the story, and you're just going to be driving you insane. Like, what's going to happen? Just let it play out.
Supposedly, there was this one scene filmed in Prague. I think that was shown in the trailer. It involved a bunch of extras that had to be reassured that where they were being filmed for was not a porno, but it was supposedly an orgy scene. It was supposedly an on-screen orgy scene for this movie.
That's interesting.
They had to reassure the extras that they were not filming a porno.
That's funny.
Let's just wait and see. I mean, again, like, what's the point in trying to get all, blustered about what's coming out when, it's not even out yet?
It comes out June 7th. I'll be seeing it. Shit.
I gotta get Dave.
Right out the word.
I want to get Dave's comment on this. Tour Capture says, "Hello, Americans." How do you feel about that comment? Like, do you feel like you being that's a smack in the face to you for that one right there, being called American?
No, in fact, it's quite appropriate, because at this point, with what's going on in Canada, no Canadian wants to be acknowledged as being Canadian.
No.
Justin Trudeau fucked up that bad, huh?
It's worse than that. It's fucking terrible.
Jesus.
Oh, Tex says the new Ghostbuster movie sucks ass. I'm hearing
Frozen Empire.
Yeah, but I'm hearing the exact opposite. I'm hearing it's actually good, but
that's coming from critics, possibly. You have to look at the fan reviews. When it comes to Rotten Tomatoes, look at the fan reviews.
I'll take a friend's review.
It looks interesting. I saw the trailer, but I've heard, like, I guess maybe like Casey, not necessarily from reviewers, but I've seen things on social media like, I saw the movie, it was great, blah blah blah, this and that. Till I see it, I can't really say shit. And I don't know, has Tex actually gone to see it? Did you go see it in the theater or something?
Oh no! This is what he says. It's great if you want to see teenage lesbian love story with a spirit and a suicidal girl.
Oh my god.
Okay.
he's-
It sounds like maybe they went Ghostbusters 2016 with this one.
Oh
Because
yeah, definitely. He said he saw it today. Shit.
yeah, I just said that there. Thanks for keeping up.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It seems that they do have that habit of destroying a movie that, oh, it did well. Let's just invoke our fucking woke shit and ruin it.
I'm surprised they didn't have Christian Wiig in it at this fucking point.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't include all of them, like as in like, oh, we're bringing these people. They're totally unrelated to the franchise, but yeah, they're going to be now the part of this new team.
Mhm.
I
but,
think I think when they did the continuance with the Afterlife, they should have just they kind of moved on.
I think they should have ended it there. Like, I think the last Ghostbusters movie should have just been, because really there should have been, and you might know about this, Casey, but there should have been just a Ghostbusters 3 and to properly finish it. And the video game that came out, that really was what Ghostbusters 3 was supposed to be. You should
Yeah,
make a
I heard
video
it was
about that as well.
I heard it was the video game was very good.
Yeah, but not only that is that Aykroyd was involved, and other people, and basically, it was supposed to be the script for the third one, if they'd been able to get it done, and it was supposed to like sort of again wrap a bow around the franchise, and end it there, and that never came out. And I think that again, what was the last one called? Afterlife.
I
Yeah,
think so, yeah.
That one, again, the homage that it did for
it
Harold
was
Ramis.
okay.
I thought that was again a way to wrap a bow around the franchise and be like, this is where it ends. You know, we come full circles, and it leaves a lot to the imagination of the viewer to say, okay, now the kids are involved in stuff, like inevitably they're gonna be Ghostbusters, and it's perfectly fine. You don't need to keep fucking hammering away. It's like Disney with all these fucking Star Wars shows, all these production companies making things, even Marvel with Disney, making things where the imagination of the audience is all that's needed to end a fucking series. You don't need to keep, wasting it away and destroying the franchise.
Speaking of Star Wars, I'm hearing Acolyte is gonna kill the series in general because of how bad it's already getting, how much backlash it's already.
It's got a lot of 70% bad reviews on its trailer.
Yeah. I think at one point it had like 349,000 thumbs downs.
For which trailer? For the new Ghostbusters?
Star Wars Acolyte.
Star Wars The Acolyte.
What the hell is that?
It's a new show again, basically doing exactly what we all just talked about. It's just wokeism and bullshit. And
there's a Wookiee Jedi.
Apparently there's a lot of bullshit that contravenes the previous established canon, and fans don't like what they've seen in just the trailer. So it's just been inundated with thumbs downs. And when you take a look at the numbers, it's 70% of people that have watched it that have given it a thumbs down.
Yeah, that's not good.
And it's had millions of views. Think about that. 70%.
That's not good either. 70% of millions of views. That's
really?
That's quite a bit. So
no, but see, but at this point, it should be evident to people. They're purposely driving their franchise into the ground. They're purposely destroying it.
And yet George
and they
Lucas
say go
is
woke.
defending the people that are
What's
destroying his creation. In a law, George Lucas is backing Bob Iger.
Yeah, he is, because that's where the money is. But they say go woke or get woke, go broke. But in this case, that's not the concern. they're not concerned with, and Disney has a lot of stockholders and such. They're not concerned with management's not concerned with the losing of potential money and stuff. They're focused on ideological goals, which is to subvert what has been previously established and destroy it and try to impose their new political views onto that.
Yep.
I mean, they've done that with the Star Wars movies, and
I just said that.
yeah. Well, I was going to
I
bring up.
agree, Tex. I will agree with you on that. Star Wars, yeah, definitely.
Well,
No,
we've
I
seen it
wouldn't
with
say-
with Marvel. We've seen the push to try to make was it
Let's just get
Captain
it out of the way.
Marvel look
Captain
all
Marvel
great?
should not. Captain Marvel, not a good character.
You had the Ms.
or movie.
Marvel. You had the Marvels again, like the whole. They call it the. Was it the
Final
MC
Boss Girl or
sorry
something.
MCU? They call it the MCU. You know the Marvel. No, that's what
Yeah.
the centers call it, because again, they've just been pushing this old girl power and all this crap, and really just shitting on stories and destroying characters, and they're not stopping. But they recognize that they're destroying the brand, and then they
If I
blame
wanted
the
to watch something
fans.
that was-
They blame the fans for like not going to watch it and shit.
If I wanted to watch something that was girl power oriented, I'd go back to 1998 to 2005 and watch the fucking Powerpuff Girls as a fucking kid again. That's fucking ridiculous. Yeah, I said it.
Tour Capture said, did George get $4 billion for it?
I think it was 3.5, but it could have been higher. Regardless, he got billions of dollars for it.
And he says it's been years now. How much is it worth now? And who got the better deal?
Yeah,
I
actually, it diminished in price. It cost Disney a lot, and they, at least last year, were discussing the potential of selling off and maybe even selling it back to George Lucas, the whole Lucasfilm brand that he sold off to them. So at a majorly discounted price. That was being discussed
Sucks to
last
suck,
year.
I guess. Sucks to suck, I guess.
Well, I don't know if they would actually do that, though. I mean,
No,
it's
at this
still,
point, they're committed. They're committed to destroying the franchise. So they're locked in. They're going to keep making shit movies. And because again, it's like the WWE. They've got the franchise now. You can sell t-shirts and fucking mugs and lunch boxes and toys and shit and keep that revenue coming in. With the just remembered, like with Snoopy, for example, Snoopy still sells. Japan is huge on Snoopy.
really.
Snoopy hasn't changed in fucking 50 years, right?
Yep.
But they keep selling Charlie Brown, like Mickey Mouse, all these fucking, they could remain solvent and make money simply just with the character alone, with the with the merchandise that's produced.
Tech says that George Lucas is the biggest single shareholder in Disney. He still has a stake in all this. So, like,
Of course it would.
No, he's not the biggest shareholder in Disney.
he probably does have a huge share, though. Like, I mean, I'm sure not only he got billions.
He's probably given stock or may have invested it, but or invested in that. But Disney basically bought out LucasArts. Everything that had to do with what he created and put under the LucasArts brand now belongs to Disney. Willow,
Indiana
Star
Jones.
Wars. What's that?
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. Disney also obviously owns the Muppets.
Oh dear.
Really?
Yeah.
They own Jim Henson's Creature Shop.
Yeah, Jim Henson. I can't remember what
Jim
umbrella
Henson's
it falls
Creature
under,
Shop?
but it's Henson Productions or something like that. But yeah, it's or Jim Henson Productions is basically owned by Disney, so they own the Muppets.
That means they own the
including
Ninja
Kermit.
Turtles too.
What's that?
That means they own the original 3 Ninja Turtles movies as well. rights.
No,
Because like
I-
Jim Henson's Creature Shop created those turtles.
No, but they don't own it. It's not. They
No.
didn't.
I mean the
produce it.
costumes, the costume designs.
okay.
No, but there's
Possibly.
different costume. Again, it falls under the ownership of the brand. So the brand is allowed for different costumiers to create different, costumes. So
Yeah.
Disney has no, say or profit from the fact that, some of the new costumes or costumes that came after were somewhat similar. This was authorized under the umbrella of the, past authority over the turtle franchise, and there's no ownership there.
Okay.
I think now I could be wrong, but I think the turtles are under Nickelodeon now. But
Yeah,
Well,
that's right. The
maybe
cartoons,
shows.
the cartoons are cartoons,
Huh.
yeah. Because the Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin is supposed to be coming out like this year or next year as the new video game.
let's see. I'm getting a message from Tex. Oh shit! He sent me a screenshot. Says Lucas was received 37.1 million Disney shares as a part of the deal with Disney for $4.5 billion for the purchase of Lucasfilm back in 2012. And it says it's currently is the largest individual investor. This is according to CNBC.
Wow.
So he's got quite a bit
30
of stock in there.
37.5 million business shares, you said?
Well, it says 0.1, but yeah,
0.1.
37.1 million shares.
For Disney.
Yeah, for Disney.
Jesus Christ.
That's what the CNBC and Google says. So, I mean, I do believe he has definitely a huge stake in it. Like, I mean, it makes sense for that.
Mm-hmm.
Tour Capture says Disney doesn't own the turtles. Like, no, I think
They don't
Nickelodeon.
own they don't own the cartoons to them. No.
No, I think that's Nickelodeon.
Yeah, because they're gonna
But
run that into the ground too.
But I was hearing, when you said Muppets, I grew up not watching the Muppets. I grew up watching Muppet Babies on back in the day, like on what? I love Muppet Babies back when I was a kid. Like watch the cartoon. I loved it when I was a kid. Like if I'm able to go watch and see how it looked back then, I would love to do that, but I don't even think that's on the Disney Plus.
I grew up on the actual Muppet Show back from the 70s, and I remember
prefer the original Muppets personally.
I remember the movies that came out: the Muppet movie, Muppets Take Manhattan,
Muppets from Space. That was my first one.
But again, it's
Yes, I know.
late
Capture. I know
70s,
that
early
too.
80s is my familiarization with the Muppets, and there was obviously Muppet Babies. That wasn't
I
bad
love
at all.
Tour
But,
Capture. That's nothing new to me.
But I
Don't you just-
remember again Kermit the Frog being featured on Sesame Street, and Mr. Hooper, for example. And I'm talking old school stuff. And
He was also his puppeteer, Tour Capture. He was also Splinter's puppeteer as well.
And basically nowadays, because Disney owns the Muppets, but Children's Television Workshop owns, Sesame Street, you no longer have Kermit the Frog on Sesame Street.
Yep.
Well, that's how petty Disney can be a little bit about that. They're like, no, we own them. I mean, unless, like if they want to get something like how Sony owns the Spider-Man franchise,
Mhm.
or the rights to the movie rights.
They have the movie rights and the video game rights.
Yeah, I
So
think you're right.
they
So,
own them. They own Spider-Man, which is why Madam
no,
Web was a shitstorm of a movie. I heard.
well, they own the rights to them. I mean, it's still under the Marvel brand, but
Door Capture. I got the OG movie on cassette still.
So Casey, just to let you know, I am prepping my food, so I will have to drop out at some point in the near future. So
that's fine. I
It's
appreciate
fine.
you coming on, though.
Yep.
I mean, like, what, dude? Did they? I wonder if they even have Muppets on the Disney Plus. I mean, I don't actively look for that.
I don't know.
But,
I don't subscribe.
well, right now,
No funding.
even though you said you're not going to watch the X-Men 97, it got me to watch the original series again.
Yeah, but the original series are actually, fairly okay. That they, unfortunately, they really uh, weakened everyone on the team. Because I was reading again. This is something else I was going to mention is that I was an avid X-Men fan and collector for a long time. Thankfully, I dropped out of collecting comics way before they went woke. Although it was that sort of shit going on similar in my time, but I know all these things when it comes to X-Men history and trivia and all that sort of thing. Um, so I think I can speak on that sort of thing.
Yeah. Like I can speak about the X-23 character from like just seeing how she was portrayed in the Logan movie,
Yeah, I
the
heard you
comics she was
saying that.
introduced in, and
Yeah,
X-Men Evolution, basically making her an older version of herself. I'm like,
yeah, and also again, I don't take X-Men Evolution as a good show,
it's not.
or
It's
or
not.
even anything that the closest thing that anyone got to canon, and it was still far away, was the X-Men animated series. But it's still, again, it weakened Wolverine to a fucking pussy status. When you had,
Yep.
again, the whole thing with Wolverine was his berserker rage. The guy could fucking go through 100 ninjas who were trained in assassination in Japan, and he could just fucking cut right through them and stuff. There wasn't anything like he'd get kicked in the chest and then fall backwards, then get unconscious, like happened so many times on the X-Men cartoon. He would it would be a bloodbath. Now there have been some Marvel animated movies that have come out. Hulk, the Hulk, I think it was the Hulk versus series of movies. There was two of them. One was against Thor. Is there no? It wasn't against Thor. Specifically, it was Beta Ray Bill, but again held the hammer. And the other one was against Wolverine. And they actually showed blood, and they showed Wolverine, for example, in the comics, chopping into this guy's chest, into the Hulk's chest, and blood spurting everywhere and stuff. And Hulk then, taking Wolverine and throwing him across the forest and stuff, and blood coming out of Wolverine when he hits that tree and stuff. There are animated series that really show what the comic has shown, but as good as we can consider what we got with the X-Men show, it still wasn't anything close to what the comics gave.
I
Sorry,
think
I've got a habit today to really talk too much.
Oh,
no,
don't
you're
worry.
fine.
I'm the same way around my family, Dave.
Well, Tech says that Disney Plus series have a pattern that they make a first couple good episodes to decent to get you hooked, and then they drop woke crap once you're deep into it. and it will happen to X-Men as well. I mean, they're kind of doing it right now.
He's
Well,
giving them too much credit. He's giving them too much credit, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I can see it. Like a lot of the series on the Disney Plus has been good. Like I love the Loki and some of the Marvel ones. I mean, I really enjoyed the new X-Men 97 episodes. Like
Well,
I
this
you
this better not happen, because if I catch anything like that in a show that's supposed to take place in 1990 freaking 7, a year in a day and age when I was about to turn 5.
God, you're young.
Yeah, you are young.
I was born in 92. Sue me.
No, we're just saying how old we are now. Like, dude, I just turned 42, and when you're saying like you're born in 92, like I have a kid in my job, they just turned 21. And like
Damn.
dude, I'm literally twice your age now. Like, God,
Does
that
he have
makes me,
sass? Does he have an attitude, thinking that he knows shit?
you know what? He's actually a good kid. I mean,
All right,
I'm
so you won't shit in his helmet.
no, no, I pissed in the guy's helmet. Let's get that
No,
straight.
shitting in the helmet sounds better. That's the way that
But
we're
he-
going to establish that legend.
Either way.
Also, we've got Tour Capture in the chat says, but Dave, you can't have your cake and eat it too. We all wish we can get the blood and gore from the series, but at least we got the same as the TV series back in the 90s. I don't understand. I mean, like,
I
we didn't
think
get
he's talking about the blood and gore for the comics compared to the TV series in the 90s.
Oh, I went back and started watching the original series again. No one actually ever dies except
Nope.
Morph. I mean, even when Magneto was attacking, he didn't kill anyone either. All he
Also, you
did-
guys were talking about, you guys were like, oh, I think it was you. Not you, Casey, but yeah, I think that was it you were saying like, oh, I don't know what Magneto is going to be taking over the X-Men. They're taking stories that were actually common in the 80s. The story, like Magneto leading the X-Men after Professor X supposedly died. This is not the first time it's happened. It's, this happened in the 80s.
Really?
Yeah, early 80s and stuff. And again, even the costume with the big M over his chest with the sleeveless top that he has in the video, that was again from the early 80s.
That's the one thing I did not like, his new getup that he had with the big M. Like, I guess he had to update it, but I'm so used to the way he looked in the original series. That's
But they are clearly taking from old stories. That's the thing.
oh yeah.
Okay.
Showing that in those scenes.
Now, I've seen this report about like an interview about Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad.
Oh yes.
He wanted to play. He said he'd be open to playing Professor Xavier, but without the wheelchair.
What?
I didn't hear about that. I didn't hear about the wheelchair
He said
thing.
this in an interview. He said this recently in an interview a couple of days ago.
He's been going on for quite some time. He's been going on for quite some time saying, "Oh, I want to be Professor X. I want to be Professor X. We should do." He even recently said that he wants Denzel Washington to play Magneto.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people straight up jumped on this. It's like, hold on. The whole story about Magneto is he's this Jew that went through the Holocaust that, again, is now sort of conforming to his captor's ways and wants to exterminate anyone that's not like him. And that's basically who he is. You can't whitewash.
Change that.
Sorry, you can't blackwash it and try to make it. We're just trying to adapt to a new audience. No, you do that.
Look
You
how
take away
adapting to a
from
new
the
audience
fucking
worked with
the
that one
character.
movie this past weekend.
Hey,
What's that?
The magical like school of the
No,
that
the
one that
School
new
of
magical
Magical
like inward
Negroes.
school. Yeah, that movie. That movie came out it literally just made $1 million on Sunday.
hey, guys,
It
take
was a
over for a
bloodbath.
second.
That movie
Because
literally
I
just
got.
finally broke $1 million.
You weren't doing
I-
anything anyways, Casey. Just go do your thing.
It was a bloodbath. I mean, think about it. What white person is gonna see this movie and not get in trouble
No,
and
but
be called a
they
racist?
weren't making it for white people.
That's the
They-
point.
No,
And
they
not
were
even
making it for
people
black
wanted to see
people.
this shit.
So again, if they were making it for black people, where were the black people?
Exactly. Not giving a fuck. Because not a lot of black families go to the movies these days. They'd rather stay at home or be with their families elsewhere on the weekends. Most of the average moviegoer is white. That's the issue that they fucked up with the studio. That's the issue. The average moviegoer is mostly white. And I'm sorry to say that as a biracial person, but you know it's true. Look at how many people go to the movies and actually sit through a movie without screaming their heads off in a horror movie, running in and out of the fucking theater to the point where security has to check up on the screening, see who's interrupting the movie. That only happens when black people are in the theater. I saw it happen with Paranormal Activity 2.
It's true.
3 or 4 teenagers were running
Again,
in
I
and out of the
haven't,
screen.
dude. The last movie I ever saw in theaters was the first Avengers movie.
Last one I saw
And-
was with my dad. Spider-Man No Way Home.
But again, well, that's like a decade, more than maybe 2 decades after what I'm saying. I haven't been to the theater in forever. Why? Because people are always talking, starting shit, talking back to the fucking movie, yelling and shit, checking their phones. It's just like, that's not enjoyable for me. And you just identify it that, yes, again, primarily it is black people. But again, regardless, and nobody should be doing that. I'm supposedly there to enjoy the movie in peace, just like everyone else. And if that can't be it, I'd rather just invest in some good equipment at home and watch a fucking. Oh, Dave, you didn't see the movie on the release weekend? No, I didn't. I'm gonna wait for it to come out in 2 weeks, 3 weeks at most on digital. I'll watch it on my fucking computer, or I'll watch it on my fucking TV, on my big screen TV. So
you know what I was doing when Halloween Ends came out on theaters? I was watching that shit on Peacock, and I fucking hated it.
My point is that I'm not going to be dictated to, when I want to have a good experience watching a movie, I'm not going to go to a place that's going to ruin it for me. And if I can watch a movie naked with fucking popcorn on my lap and, just watch it in my environment and enjoy myself. Nobody's going to be talking over the movie. Nobody's going to give me shit. And it's just more enjoyable that way.
Who's heard of Kristen Stewart's new movie, Love Lies Bleeding, yet? Kristen Stewart has a new movie. You have?
No.
Well, it's her recent movie that just came out literally last Friday. One man has already been arrested at a screening for it because he was jerking off in the movie theater while watching it.
With the Madam X movie?
No, Love Lies Bleeding. It has Kristen Stewart from Twilight in it.
Okay, because in fact there was a guy that was arrested for doing exactly that at the Madam X or Madam Web movie.
Oh God!
I don't know if you heard about that.
This one for Love Lies Bleeding, this dude fell asleep with his cock out after the movie ended. He was found by cops with his cock out asleep. I'm like, how the fuck do you let them take a picture of you like that, you dumbass?
Like,
You wake up and you're fucking in a slammer.
well, either the guy was drunk or high or something because
He was jerking off in a movie theater. You ain't got to be any of that to be in a movie theater, man.
no, I'm talking about
You ain't
like
got to be that
where,
stupid
like,
to be in a movie theater to jerk off.
no. Well, I'm saying how I never fell asleep, and in the middle of jerking off, that I fell asleep. You know.
I had a friend fall asleep in the sequel of Alice in Wonderland twice, and she was still able to keep up with the fucking movie. And she fell asleep on two different occasions.
That's different though. I fell asleep
That
during
movie
movies
was boring.
before.
The Alice in Wonderland sequel movie from what, 2019, 2018? That was boring.
I never watched them.
It was the one where they tried to find the Mad Hatter's family.
I never watched none of the
live action Alice in Wonderland movies.
No, I never watched them.
This one was piss poor bad. The sequel. Piss poor bad.
But I was saying,
you'd have more entertainment taking a shit in the bathroom of that theater than watching that movie. You'd have more entertainment doing that.
But I'm still amazed how someone can fall asleep while jerking off because I never was.
No, he fell asleep with his cock out. He had already jerked
off.
Okay, even majority of the film, and it disgusted a lot of the other people around him. To the point where the cops were called.
Well, duh. Like if I'm sitting by him, it's like, dude, why you got your cock out?
I'll give you one guess on where I'll give you one guess on the state this happened in. One guess.
Oklahoma?
Florida. Always fucking Florida with the weird ass news.
I thought maybe you were gonna say because I live in Oklahoma. I was like,
fuck no. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 6 is based around all the Florida incidents in that trailer. That GTA 6 trailer had nothing but Florida incidents.
Oh, that.
In the trailer. Now everyone's claiming they want royalties because their likeness was used in a video game. Supposed likeness.
Not for me. Terror captures at the movies. Are you guys pulling the popcorn trick with your lady friend?
Fuck no.
I was like,
fuck no.
See, I think that's
all my lady friends are either dating other guys or fucking married and have kids.
Well, the thing is, I don't think that people actually do that because think about it.
You're so wrong. You are so wrong.
You're a think that's not gonna happen.
Hold on, but the popcorn's gonna be hot and all greased.
It's not gonna be that hot. Come on.
It's not.
You really think this is gonna be scorching by the time that you get to your seat and the movie starts?
Yeah,
and you've had enough time to cut the hole in there. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's like even when they serve it to you, it's not piping hot. It's not like you don't reach for the popcorn like, oh, it's hot.
Maybe hard to hold the bucket, but the popcorn ain't fucking hot, dude. Come on.
And I want to know how like, are you cutting like the tub of popcorn or is this a bag of popcorn?
I think he's referring to the tub.
Wouldn't that be a lot harder?
When was the last time you got a bag of popcorn at the fucking theater? What the fuck?
The only times I ever get bags of popcorn from anywhere is my fucking bank. They got popcorn machines that actually make good popcorn.
But I mean, I think when the smaller, like I always get large, so it'll be at the top.
Of course you do, Casey. Of course you do.
But I think a lot of times, like medium and small is sometimes a bag, so it's obviously it'd be a lot easier.
There's the problem. You think you never ordered that small, proper size. You always go for the big one.
I always order the double popcorn anytime I go to the theater. But I've never pulled that trick.
I seen back in the day where the popcorn it was a bag of popcorn.
when they showed movies in the local barn.
But I'm just saying, like, well, let's say it was a tub of popcorn. So you pull when do you cut the tub of popcorn? Like you take the tub in the bathroom and cut it, or you do it
No,
right.
dude, you're in a dark theater. How difficult is this to compute?
Well,
You're in a dark
but
theater. You sit down. You pull out your pocket knife. You fucking cut a hole. You fucking position yourself, and you engage in your lewd act. I mean, like, is it that difficult?
I'm
It
just
is.
saying.
It is nowadays because everyone wants to bring everything but a pocket knife to a theater.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I'm just thinking about your date's gonna be right beside you, so she's like,
Yeah, and
gonna
she
look.
knows exactly what you're doing, and she wants to partake in the fun. I mean, it's kind of takes two parties to
Takes
conduct
two to
this
tango.
operation.
Well, let's say she didn't think about that. Like you're over there, you pull a knife out the back, kind of haul out.
And
Dude,
what? There's a spotlight on you, and everyone sees you. Like again, you're
Dude.
forgetting you're in a dark theater.
No,
Casey.
I'm talking about from her point of view. She turns and look at it like, why you got your knife out? And it's like,
Casey, there's actual porn sites
Oh,
of like
Casey.
people having like getting head in a fucking theater by at least their partner or their friend minimum.
oh god, I love this one. I was
That
gonna
doesn't even
put
involve popcorn. They're just getting head in a nearly empty movie theater.
old school gamer says, "Wow, that guy's girlfriend has her face in the fucking popcorn."
And watch the movie. Don't be watching me. You watch the fucking movie.
What I said is more accurate. What I said is more accurate to the modern age. If the theater is mostly empty, you'll have like if you're with your lady friend, she'll willingly, probably not willingly, but if you convince her enough,
all right, guys, I gotta
get
going. But
I appreciate.
Maybe I'll come back. Had some fun, and fuck X-Men '97.
Oh, well, I appreciate Dave coming by. Tex says that Casey is a decent human. He doesn't pull out his pud in the theater. He waits till it's over, and then him and homeless Jim meets up in the alley, and he handles his business there.
Okay.
And then he says, "I would still eat the popcorn after." Oh, that's fucked up. No.
I mean, I don't know if he's wrong or not because I don't want to see that at all. Shit.
I'm still saying, like, you're like from the view of like your date, like you turn and she sees you cutting the hole. Like, see, I think you should have it prepped. Like, you take the tub of the popcorn in the bathroom, you cut it. Like, obviously, you're probably going to be in the stall because you don't want to be like.
If you take the tub of popcorn into the bathroom, it's kind of obvious what you're going to do now.
Well, maybe hold on. Maybe you're by the person thinking maybe you're by yourself. Like, where the hell are you going to put your popcorn at? Like, if you're
how the hell are you going to hide the fact that your dick is in the popcorn tub at the bottom when you have to walk back to your seat?
No. What you do is like, here, let me finish. So you go to the stall, then you cut the hole in the bottom of the tub, and then you have to plug it with your hand like that. And then you walk through it holding the popcorn so it's not leaking from behind. And then when you sit by your date, when you say, "Hey," she's looking at your phone. Then that's when you pull your dick out and put position the.
You're gonna get us put on a fucking list, dude. What the fuck? You're gonna get us put on a list. Oh,
no, I'm just saying that I think that's the route I would go if I would do it instead of doing it all. Like, because I mean, I'm afraid if I was gonna do it, like even pull my dick out and put the tub of popcorn, like there's some time, like you have to do it quickly before she's like, "What the hell are you doing?" But that's still. God, that's awful when he wrote that text. But I think that was hilarious. But I was hearing about you guys talking about theater where I assume he was talking about where like he would probably rather watch it at home than the theater. And like I could see
Mhm.
that because I thought during when the pandemic, I really enjoyed where you had an option. You could stay home and watch the movie and you pay like $25 and it'll be like it would be about the same hour more, give or take, than what it is. Like I would even if they want to be a really greedy assholes. I think at that time I could be wrong. I think if it was like maybe $20 for a few days for where you can watch it, and then it's off your library. And then if you pay like a few bucks more, it's on your library, like on YouTube. Like I prefer that because sometimes like I still would like to watch the movie, and in your let's say you're want to do it at your own convenience. So like what just happened just a minute ago where I had to walk Duke outside. Like so I would have to stop and go pee or walk Duke and then I can resume where I left off. I'd prefer that, but I still don't see theaters going away just yet. They're actually coming back, but I think if theater, let's say the pandemic was like, let's say if we had another year of full shutdown, then I don't think theater would be here today. Everything would have been digital.
They've already closed down 100-year-old theater. The parent company of 100-year-old theater company just like filed for Chapter 11 a couple weeks ago.
Well, I mean, a lot of it caused a lot of damage. Some of the bigger chains, they're fine.
I mean, and one of the older chains that literally had 100th anniversary is not.
Well, I mean, how big of a company?
Let me look up the old report.
But some of the other ones, the bigger names, yeah, they were having problems where they were doing like $100. You can watch wherever you want, but you would have rent the whole room yourself and your family and friends. But that's when it was real bad. I think if, like I said, if we had one more year of close down or close outs or like being closed in,
it's Metropolitan Theaters. It's filed for Chapter 11. Metropolitan Theaters.
They're not as big as some of the other ones that those big names were able to survive. Like there was
Metropolitan Theaters is the 100-year-old theater chain because of the poor box office sales they've had.
Yeah.
That's from Bloomberg back on March 1st. The parent company has filed Chapter 11.
But I'm thinking the future probably coming up in the next 5 years, I would see them resuming what they were doing in the pandemic, where you have an option to watch it digitally or you can go to theaters. I don't see theaters completely dying off just yet. But thank God it didn't. Oh, we must have piqued his interest. We got another caller. We got Tex.
What's up, Tex?
Welcome,
Casey. I don't have long. I had to sneak away from family to be able to give you this brilliant idea. A few months ago, you were trolling, hey, I'm going to be doing movie reviews and shit, right? Like that was going to be your new thing or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah.
I got an idea for you. It's not movie reviews.
Yeah.
But you start I don't think you can do a whole channel on this, but maybe like a 3 to 4 part mini series or something of how basically, I think the proper title for this would be Casey Jerks It at the Movies. I think that's the perfect title for this movie. Okay. Basically, what this is, it is a how-to of different techniques, ways. Because, okay, like you're talking about, like, oh, how are you supposed to pull out a pocket knife? Okay, number one, every grown man should always have a pocket knife in their pocket. You never know it's used for 1,000 different things, and it's not, and they're not all like Crocodile Dundee, 14-inch blades. But you need something just in case. They even make. I don't know if y'all have ever seen these. They're literally the size of like a house key, and you put it on your key ring, and it's got it's got a smaller knife blade inside of it. But you don't have to use a knife. It's a paper popcorn bucket with buttery popcorn that's soaking in there. You could cut it with the key. You can push it through. Basically, this whole miniseries is you go into the movies, and you're going to have somebody filming you. So maybe get Melissa or Homeless Jim or take you whoever you want to with you. But basically, like they're filming you. Okay, and like, okay, once you buy your popcorn, keep your key in your hand and have like your car key, so it's a bigger one, right? And you just poke that through the bottom. And as you're walking to this to your seats, you're cutting a hole, but you don't cut a hole all the way so the popcorn just falls out, right? You cut it like 3/4 of the way so you can flap it back over, and you just hold the bottom and you don't spill any popcorn. And then you don't insert yourself until you're in the dark, Just little tips and techniques, And this is and just get creative with it, take it and make it your own. I only ask that I get, like a producer or director credit, something in the editing process. But we can, discuss that later. But, I think this might blow up for your channel there, bud. So just keep it in mind.
He may be run off to like Rumble if that happens, if he gets his series going, going really well.
I always bring my dates to the movies, but I realize I keep forgetting that's not the best situation if you want to talk to the woman. Because, for me,
you don't. No, not for a first date. If it's like a third and you're kind of running out of crap to talk about, movie is a go. But not first two. No, that's rookie move. So.
Yeah. I don't know if you watch UFC, Tex, but did you see what happened tonight on the prelims, I believe?
I'm a casual UFC watcher. Like, I don't know any fighters or anything. If it's on TV, I'll watch it. That's about it.
One guy pulled a Mike Tyson at the pay-per-view.
He bit it? He bit somebody?
He bit someone in the arm, yeah.
No shit.
After they showed the replay, because he grabbed the cage after. He was grabbing the cage after. They showed the replay. He got instantly disqualified after they looked more closely and showed that he was biting the guy in his arm.
See, I don't see.
Hang on. Isn't Mike Tyson fighting somebody?
Jake Paul.
Coming up?
Jake Paul.
That's who it was. I heard him. I turned on the sports talk radio the other day, and they were talking about Mike Tyson had a fight, but I caught the end of the conversation, and they never said from that point on who he was fighting. So I never knew.
The sad part is a lose-lose situation for Jake Paul, regardless. Because if he wins, he's basically fighting a 57-year-old Mike Tyson. So if Jake Paul wins, congratulations! You beat him an elderly man. Perfect.
He beat an elderly man.
I'd be willing to bet it's probably not like if you win this fight, you get for the heavyweight title. It's probably more of like an exhibition than anything.
It is. More likely.
It's kind of like.
I mean,
which one fought Floyd Mayweather? Was it Logan or Jake?
Logan. Because Logan.
That was Logan Paul. Yeah.
Logan landed like 8% of his hits on the entire fight, but still was labeled still classified as a winner in a non-winner decision fight.
Yeah.
That was the first rule of their fight. No winner would be actually decided.
Well, that's why.
I don't know. I like MMA. I like UFC. I'll watch it, but I'm not like, oh, blah 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 is going to fight. Like I don't know where the only two UFC fighters I could tell you by name would be Chuck Liddell and Brock Lesnar. That's really the only two that I know.
What about Frank
So
Mir?
it's like look, I've heard the name, but I couldn't pick him out of a lineup if I had to. Like for me,
He
it's
is the one
it's
who
more of
tapped out
a
Lesnar. He's
for
got
me, it's
tapped out
more of
Lesnar.
like it's a casual watch. Oh, I just want to see two people beat the ever living shit out of each other for my enjoyment. I don't care who you are, kind of thing.
Nope.
Yeah.
But either way,
Either way,
yeah, someone.
I just
posted,
Casey,
Mike
I just thought you would enjoy your new mini series on the Casey Israel YouTube channel. Casey jerks it at the movies, and well,
but yeah,
like
that-
you can even be like, hey, all right, guys, when you're going, maybe wear some like black jogging pants so they're a little bit looser. You can maneuver better. You don't have to worry about a belt, but it still looks nice. So you're not like walking in gray sweatpants and they know what you're doing. You know, you get really into the details. Like, don't just show up in like faded basketball shorts that you've had for 15 years that the waistband doesn't even stay tight anymore. Try to look decent so when you defile yourself in front of everyone, you're not going to get caught. I mean, just think of it that way. So.
Well, when you're wearing a gray sweatpants, when the grease from the popcorn say, "Hey, something happened here."
Well, yeah. Well, see, that's
if you're wearing gray sweatpants and you got a big ass bucket of popcorn and there's like stains all around the seat of your pants, like the front of your pants, it's gonna be really a big.
These are things that you're gonna have to tune into Casey Jerks at the movies to learn, y'all. So he's not gonna give it all to you for free. He's going to give all his
all that shit behind like
hey, this might need to be a Patreon. I don't know if you have a Patreon, but this might make you some money here, partner. So keep that in mind.
Yep.
I'm gonna need to because I mean, once I get caught, I mean, I'm gonna need bail money.
Well, that's the thing. This is why you're teaching everybody because you're like the master and you're not gonna get caught. This is the whole point. So, I mean, if you got caught, then why would people waste their time watching it? So, you know, you got to be smart about this, man. But either way, as far as the other topics go, The Crow, whatever. I prefer the original, but
I'm just
Hollywood is bound and determined to ruin everything that we love. So at this point, I don't care. I saw Ghostbusters today. I didn't pay for it, but you know what? It sucked, and I'm glad I didn't pay for it. I haven't seen X-Men. I've seen all the reports that have came out of it, and I didn't expect any less from Disney Marvel. I'm not excited for it. I got to be honest with you.
I watched the first 2 episodes, and I really enjoyed it. I felt like it was definitely.
Has it got gay yet? Because whenever the initial reports came out, they said Morph was going to be some kind of gay, and he was going to have a special relationship with Wolverine. The minute I saw that, I tuned out already. So.
The only thing I saw that had anything related with Morph and Wolverine, I don't want to give it out too much, and it was not sexual, but because something big happened, and it's a spoiler that I don't want to give. It's the biggest spoiler for episode 2, and I don't want to spoil it. I highly suggest if you really enjoyed the original series, I feel this definitely.
Well, yeah, I was a '90s kid. I mean, Batman. I preferred Batman the animated series, to be honest with you. But X-Men was.
I was a big
X-Men was.
Just
Batman and Superman Adventures, not so much.
Batman the animated. Well, in the '90s, it was Batman the animated series, Spider-Man, and then you had X-Men animated series. That was like the 3 that really ruled the decade. I preferred Batman, but
Batman was
X-Men was
for me.
X-Men was probably number 2 for me, but it's it's like I said earlier. I have zero faith in Disney Marvel to make anything good. You know what I'm saying? Like they can't not put their woke crap in it. I mean, considering they had a black gay director who was fired for from apparently it was something to do. He had some kind of creepy OnlyFans thing he was doing or something.
Yeah, I heard about
I can't
that.
remember exactly what it was,
Yeah.
but you know this. At some point, this show's going to get queerer than a $3 bill, probably sooner than later. And I'm not hopeful. So
No, but the only
I
thing
can tell
is-
you right now, based on what you're saying, Tex, a $2 hooker will be worth more than this TV series in a couple of weeks.
hey, you know what? Sometimes a $2 hooker is appreciative because she knows her value, and it's not great, but she's going to please you by God. So,
My point.
man.
But I'm
Just
saying,
saying.
I mean, I watched the first 2 episodes. I really felt it held like it captured the essence of the original series. Like they did modify very slightly the intro music, and they changed.
Well, of course,
Like,
yeah.
And
Well,
they,
when you see Storm with a half shaved head, and
Oh,
she's
that-
talk-
Well,
she's
that's
all-
straight out of the comic book. Storm with the mohawk haircut.
yeah,
That's
half-shaved head.
comic book.
like half
Yeah.
half her
Yeah.
head shaved.
Yeah,
that's
that's comic book. Yeah, that's nothing new. That's actually a cool look for her. Like
yeah.
I believe it's I believe it's in the Age of Apocalypse era when she does that in the comics, but I could be wrong. I haven't read an X-Men comic since probably 96 or 97, whenever the show was out the first time. So it's been forever. But,
But like I said, I felt like it captured the essence of it, and they even had the.
I'm sure it did.
The intro was almost identical to the original series, to the point like they changed it up a little bit, modernized it a little bit, but I mean,
Well, they have to.
yeah.
They tried.
I don't know. I
remember
mean-
when they tried updating who remembers the 50 Cent show Power? Remember that one episode when they changed the theme song in the final season of the original Power?
Power.
I don't remember that. Power.
Like 50 Cent's show with Ghost, the black guy that played
50 Cent. Are you talking about the rapper 50 Cent?
Yeah, he was in a show called.
I've never seen a show with him in it.
It was on like
No, I hadn't
Showtime
either.
or something. It was on Showtime.
Oh,
Yeah,
then
that's
I
on Big
definitely.
Rich Town.
Dude,
Big Rich
I've
Town.
never had Showtime in my life. I have no idea.
Well,
I
either
didn't-
way, they had modified the show's theme for one episode. Everyone hated it. They changed it back to the 50 Cent version within a week. So it may be a touch and go with this theme song for you, Casey, because the people.
Well, they had it for the
unless they
first
had
2.
unless they have the original rights to the old theme song, that's one thing. If they
I'm sure they
don't,
do.
if they don't, though, that's probably why it was modernized.
Well, I had no complaints. For me,
He was on the
if
show
I had,
too, Tour Capture. He was on the show as well in a minor role. His character was killed off. That's why he was
But-
a producer.
I think episode 1 and 2, one was kind of weak, but they had to kind of catch you up. And then, like I said, it was a year later after the last episode.
It's on BET as well. Tour Capture. That show's on BET as well. Interesting. I've always seen new episodes on Showtime.
But out of my ratings for the first 2 episodes to combine, I give it 7.5, almost 8, because I felt like it had.
Really?
Yeah, I felt like it really captured the essence of the series.
Now, okay, let me ask you this question. Taking nostalgia and the member berries out of it,
Yeah.
what would you rate it? On its own merit. If it wasn't X-Men 97, if it was just another cartoon, what would you rate it?
I don't know, because that's kind of hard, because I really never
Well,
watched. I really never watched.
That's my point.
I remember watching the original series. I hated fucking Jubilee. I still hate Jubilee to this day, still too, because there's one part in one of the episodes she was dancing with this new mutant that they saved, and she's at a club and she's dancing with this mutant, and she's using her powers and they're fucking dancing. Like that's all she has.
Well,
She has pyro.
Is Nightcrawler in this new show?
He was not in there, but
Okay, well,
Wow.
I say this because obviously in the original cartoon, I mean, he was basically a Christian preacher.
mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, he would straight up tell God so loved. I mean, he would actually preach on the show. I highly doubt Disney Marvel will allow that. I'm curious to see what changes they do to his character. You know,
Well,
so.
what was one thing that was cool? They kind of recognized the first class. You know, where Beast wasn't even full blue fur Beast.
Yeah.
He was still like a human, and the whole.
Well, they did that in the original show. It was, I forget which episode it was, but they flashed back to the original X-Men where they're all in the blue and yellow matching suits.
Yeah, they actually showed like a portrait of the original group.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
In the original run of X-Men cartoon, there was like one episode. It may have been a full episode. I can't remember. It's been years since I've seen it. But yeah, they actually did like a flashback to the original 5 or 6 with Beast and Iceman and whoever was on there. So,
yeah.
Well, Two Capture saying he will be up on the upcoming show, and I'm assuming he's talking about Nightcrawler.
Well, I always liked. For me, there's 3 characters that they need. If they can get these 3 characters right, I can probably forgive a lot. Number 1, Juggernaut. Juggernaut was always my favorite. Juggernaut was cool. The second one is Colossus. I always liked Colossus. Yeah. He was a cool design. And then third was Nightcrawler. Those were, I mean, not counting Wolverine, those were always my favorite X-Men characters or whatever.
I'll tell you this right now. If Nightcrawler is fucked up by the way you're telling me, Nightcrawler will probably be considered like in Disney Marvel's eyes, as you say.
No.
Yeah.
The antisocial gay person in the show, possibly.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because if they're going to stay true to the X-Men 97, Nightcrawler is I don't know if he's Catholic. I forget. I think he is Catholic. Pretty sure.
He's Catholic. He was Catholic.
If he's anything less than a Bible preaching character, they're not accurate to the source material here. So I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. I refuse to pay Disney a dime for anything because I hate their company and what they stand for. I won't pay for any. I will sail the high seas and pirate everything that they ever do if I have to watch it. And I don't care who knows it. But I'm not necessarily in protest of it. I'm just, if I never see it, I'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those kind of things. So,
see, I went into it, we're fearing the worst. Like, how a lot of times they have these continuance or reboots, or like when it's been 20 or 30 years later, we've seen it done okay. We've seen it done horribly.
Just a minute.
So, and I was preparing for the worst, but I enjoyed it. But I mean, could it be the nostalgic Rose?
Well, that's why I asked. Are you looking through rose-colored glasses here, or are you judging it on its own merit? And I got a feeling nostalgia, member berries are probably affecting how high you're. And I'm not saying I haven't seen it. It could be 7.5 out of 10 or 8, whatever you said out of 10. It could be great, but I have zero faith and trust in anything to do with Disney. Because
a lot of people don't.
I know what Disney does, so
See, I
Like I
can't
said,
really.
I don't know. I'll probably wait till all of them come out, and if I do watch it, I'll probably binge it. That way, I can fast forward through the crap I don't want to see. But I don't know. So,
I'm gonna probably keep up with it every week because I don't. They put the first 2 episodes out, so I don't know if they'll continue that every week. Where I think there's 10 episodes for the season. So
Well,
I mean,
short
Well-
season for an animated show.
yeah,
well,
And maybe-
considering what Rogue has already said about Rogue about her getting an ass reduction in this new version.
Yeah, I noticed. Well, obviously they got rid of Rogue's butt, which that's like obviously they're trying to take away any sort of feminine sexuality out of the character because that might make straight white males excited. So they have to basically ugly up all the women because that's equality these days. So that's kind of part of their agenda. So.
I think they were hiding her ass because I didn't get a chance to really see it. But I mean, in the cartoon, it was obvious.
She wore essentially a jumpsuit every time she fought.
Now,
yeah.
I did see one image on
capes.
I did see one image on Twitter of Gambit where he's wearing like this real faggoty looking half shirt. He's kind of standing like a female. It did not look. I'm like, what did y'all do? I did see like that.
Yeah. Both staff user Gambler with the trench coat Gambit.
Well, the thing is,
no, he was standing there. It's like he's in a kitchen or a house or something.
Yeah,
he's wearing like a cutoff shirt and he's doing like that flamingo looking hand thing with his wrist. Looks very gay. Like, what is this garbage?
Did they turn him?
I think it was blown out of proportion a little bit because I think it's just a screenshot because he's not going to wear his Gambit garment all the time. Like he's not going to wear that.
No, but there's a difference in wearing your battle armor and putting on your gay pride clothes. You know what I'm saying? There's 2 different things here.
Well, the guy was also
like
he's Cajun though too. So
okay, well that's got nothing to do with my argument.
How many people in Louisiana wear half shirts? How many guys in Louisiana wear half shirts?
I don't know. It's just like I said, knowing that this show was made. Okay, for Disney to fire a gay black man, whatever he did was horrible. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind. So, I mean, a gay black man could murder somebody on the Disney lot and get away with it. They would openly praise him because it's bold and whatever empowerment words they want to throw at it. So for the gay black,
or it could be the black version of Brian Peck from Quiet, or it could be the black.
Maybe I don't know what he did, but for him to get fired, whatever he did must have been horrible. So knowing that he made this show, I got a feeling this is probably one that it's going to be agenda driven pretty hard. But whatever.
It's possible.
More than likely.
It's possible. I mean,
he was probably creeping on people on OnlyFans, possibly.
Oh God,
that's my guess.
I don't know. Like, this might be one of those shows that I just listen to Casey's reviews of and don't waste my time with, and he can just tell me what happened. So that's kind of what I'm probably planning here. But
I'm just saying, there's a big spoiler in episode 2 that I don't want.
Let me guess. Cyclops comes out as transgender and he laser beams off his pecker and he becomes a woman.
Oh, there you go.
Wow. How did I know? How did I know?
What the fuck?
And then for the rest of the episode, he's like, "It's ma'am," as he's wearing Jean Grey's hair or something like that. Yeah, it's ma'am.
No, I'm just saying, it's let's just say this, that you didn't see this coming. I thought the person died, but out of the original series, like I brought this up when Dave was on, you never seen anyone really die in the cartoon minus more.
Well, no, because it's a. Keep in mind, in the '90s, kids' cartoons were only made as a toy commercial.
Oh yeah,
That's all they were made for. Or I mean, not just '90s, but '80s as well.
Yeah.
Go from starting with shows like the Superpowers. Or not the Superpowers, the Super Friends in the '70s. You had multiple iterations. Of course, they pumped out all those action figures, Transformers, all of those cartoons in the '80s. He-Man, G.I. Joe, all of those things. Into the '90s.
My mother actually said that my uncle was actually openly crying when Optimus Prime had initially died in the cartoon Transformers movie.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. Well, kids. I mean, that's the only reason.
She loved Optimus Prime as a kid.
That's all. I mean, kids' animated shows were 30-minute toy commercials. This is what those were back. That's what they still are. Why do you think Batman has a different costume for every villain he fights? So you can go buy the toy Ice Attack Batman and Clue Master Batman, or Joke Proof Batman, whatever it may be. Why do you think Wolverine has three? He has the orange costume, the orange and brown one, the yellow one, the black one, the X-Force costume. Yep. That's another however many dollars for that toy from mom and dad.
That's true. Since we're on the topic of Batman, whoever did you text? This is a question for you. You ever seen the animated version of the Batman version where Joker had dreadlocks in the cartoon?
Really? Yeah, that was early 2000s. That was the Batman. Yeah, I've seen that.
The Batman.
Oh,
yeah.
It's not a bad. It's not a bad show.
The voice of Goro from the original Mortal Kombat movie was the voice of that Joker.
Huh?
Did you know that?
I didn't know. Like
Goro was his voice. Was that Joker?
I didn't know that. It takes a minute to get used to Monkey Joker. It's kind of what he's referred to because he's barefoot all the time and he's always jumping around. He's jumping around like a monkey. It's a different iteration for sure. But it's not bad once you get used to it. It's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, it's one of the more underrated Joker characters from all the animated versions.
I mean, I don't know if I would say he's a top 10 Joker for me because there's a lot of Jokers out there.
Oh, yeah.
But he's a big. The Batman that one was kind of a cool because instead of first Dick Grayson becoming Robin, you had Barbara Gordon become Batgirl, and then Robin came after her. They kind of flipped it on its head a little bit, did it differently. It was all right. I mean, it was, whatever. But, there was some really cool animated shows from back in the day. But the further we go and the more franchises get ruined, the more I'm like, okay. I'm to the point where I am perfectly okay if franchises don't happen ever again. Because the more we make new versions of old stuff, you just ruin it. Look at, like I said, I just saw Ghostbusters today. God awful movie. The most boring. I was bored to tears.
The Crow was shit. All three sequels of The Crow were absolute shit.
And the one that actually looked interesting, with Jason Momoa, that one got shit canned before it ever got made. Like a few years ago.
Didn't want to do it. Jason Momoa backed out. He bowed out.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the Crow Wicked Prayer that had David Boreanaz and Danny Trejo, it's very fucked up that the best thing you have Danny Trejo doing in that movie is taking his shirt off, doing some type of whatever dance he was doing with a bunch of other Mexicans to revive a fucking shot. To revive in the middle of the day.
Danny Trejo is one of the coolest guys ever to be in Hollywood. That guy, he's one of the it's kind of like how The Rock plays himself in every movie, and we kind of hate him for it. Danny Trejo just plays Danny Trejo, but it's so cool you can't not like it. It's kind of how it is. So
I just think
I'm a Danny Trejo fan.
Danny Trejo did not need to be in Crow Wicked Prayer. That's all I'm gonna say. It was unneeded. He did not need.
I don't remember which one it.
That was the last Crow movie we had, the Crow 4.
I don't remember which one this was, but the Crow movie where Edward Furlong was the Crow.
I think that was City of Angels.
Was that 3?
I think that was City of Angels because they had a teenager and Kirsten Dunst in the third one.
Yeah, I just remember watching like Fat Edward Furlong as the Crow. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that was City
I'm
of
done
Angels.
with this franchise.
Definitely City of Angels.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't.
They had like the antagonist somehow get the powers of the Crow, and all of a sudden, crows are flying through this guy's chest to like send him to send the antagonist to the afterlife. I'm like, what? And I'm going at this. I'm looking around because I'm binge watching all 4 on Netflix. Like, what the
Just
fuck
a minute.
is that?
I'm on the phone. Yeah. I don't know. When it comes to The Crow, like I said, I stick to the original. That's The Crow to me is one of those films, and I understand kind of what Dave was talking about earlier about how there's different iterations and multiverses and whatever. But to me, there is a certain set of films that should never be touched. Like E.T., Jaws. I put The Crow. The Crow is a product of the 90s.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't know the legacy of the comic book. I haven't read a Crow comic book in probably 20 years.
Well, James O'Barr is one of the writers for this reboot. He's one of the official writers.
Okay. Well, like I said, The Crow is a 90s thing. It feels grungy. It fits in that era very well. It needs to stay there. But this is Hollywood. They ran out of good ideas or fresh ideas 50 years ago. So they just keep retreading old ground. So
I think the last good idea they had for a movie involved a sinking ship.
Titanic?
Exactly. Even Leonardo DiCaprio didn't win an Oscar for it. And he put a world-class performance in that movie. World-class performance. Plus, we got to draw a woman ass naked in the fucking chair on a couch.
Yeah, but they could have got somebody hotter than Moo Cow Kate Winslet. I mean, come on, get somebody hot. Not that pudgy.
You have to remember, he screwed her in one of the cars.
I'd fuck her. I'd fuck her.
Supposedly.
Casey, you'd fuck a popcorn bucket. I don't want to hear nothing else. And you're going to in your upcoming series of Casey jerks it at the movies. So it's going to be great.
Well,
either way,
I want to hold
that's going to be. I just hope the new Crow reboot is not going to be a train wreck as people are expecting. Because if it is, I will be sorely disappointed. Because Bill Skarsgård.
What?
People are already calling this man the Darby Allin version of Sting, Darby Allin version of the Crow. Because the original Crow was Sting, and they're calling Bill Skarsgård the Darby Allin Crow.
That's actually very creative. I could actually see that. That's very funny. I can see that actually.
Mainly because
they went with like the face tattoos and like the weird kind of futuristic mullet looking haircut. Like they went with a very odd design. I mean, I didn't expect them to do a remake of the original, of the Brandon Lee Crow design. I didn't expect that.
I would think when I heard Eric and then Shelley, I'm like, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good.
Well, I
already knew when those two names were uttered in the trailer, this was going to piss off a lot of people.
Well, if it tells you anything about the state of, if it tells you anything about the state of film these days, anytime a new film is announced, the first thought that comes into my head is, okay, which agenda are we pushing with this one? That's the first place my mind always goes, unfortunately.
One channel,
So
one person react to the trailer. They called it Hot Topic John Wick Joker Crow.
well, that's what I'm saying. Watch the Crow trailer and then go watch John Wick. It's like it's in the same world. It is
basically is. I mean,
yeah.
Bill Skarsgård's last movie was a John Wick movie, as far as I know. John Wick Chapter 4, he was in that.
Yeah, he was in the last one. Yeah, he was. I forget who he played in that one, but yeah,
He was the guy that John Wick was fighting for the high table spot.
Yeah.
He had to fight him for the
I don't know. I'm not one of these people that says, "Oh, you're killing my childhood if you make a new version of something," because I always have my version.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to lie and say it doesn't cheapen the brand when you make some great value version of whatever.
Like
So-
Ghostbusters. Like
Like the
when they-
Ghostbusters, like Exorcist, like every other franchise that they have made a lesser than version of. It doesn't ruin it, but it does degrade slightly. So
Exorcist Believer was a shit show. I'll admit it.
it,
I
was,
saw it with my
it was horrible.
fiance. It was a shit show. And they want to make
And-
2 sequels after that shit show. They were planning to
Don't-
make 2 sequels.
They're planning on it, but I highly doubt
see it
2
happen.
films get made out of this.
I don't.
Considering that,
You're already
considering that,
Go ahead.
I think they spent, was it $400 million on the rights to The Exorcist?
Yeah.
Universal and Blumhouse did. They spent like $400 million. They didn't even make. They barely made. I know Believer wasn't profitable. And I think the budget was like $20 or $30 million just for the film itself.
Yep.
I highly doubt Blumhouse makes 3 Exorcist movies. I would be real surprised.
Box office stuff.
No.
I'm not sure. I'm sure it didn't do well. I mean, within the horror world that I'm in,
They only made
very few people like
137 million. They literally only made worldwide 137 million.
Jesus.
That's it.
So the film itself made money. What does it say the budget for the film?
Let me check that too.
Well, anytime a series like that stops and like 20, 30 years later resumes, I always dread
Yeah.
it. Like how
Oh yeah.
like when
As
like
much
when Bill,
as much as it made, it only cost like 30 million to make.
It cost $30 million to make.
30 million, yeah, that's it.
So and it made 100.
It made 137 worldwide.
So it was profitable, but not by much because by the time
made over almost $500 million though years ago.
well, I'm not talking about that because the film itself cost 30. I guarantee you, they spent another 30 on advertising and promotion. There's no way it made much. It might have made a few $1 million, maybe, but I highly doubt anything. But no, like Casey was saying, legacy sequels don't usually go well. So
I think the best one, and it still wasn't great. I would give it to Bill and Ted Face the Music. I mean, was it great? No, but I think out of the movies that pause for 20, 30 years later, like it's, I
I saw that, but I remember nothing about that. That was so forgettable to me.
it was good. I mean, to me, it was good. I mean, there was a lot of
The only
people
scene I can remember from that is when the version of Bill and Ted that went to prison because Keanu Reeves had to wear like that muscle suit that had all the tattoos and stuff on it. That's the only thing I remember about that movie.
I love how
Oh,
every time they
no.
ran. I love how every time they ran into their future selves, and it was
Oh,
like
God.
I really loved that. But one of the
Yeah.
things that pissed a lot of people off, and probably I wasn't shocked if you, is when they had their kids as them, pretty much as their characters. You know, when Bill and Ted, like, yeah, they were in high school when they were
Well,
in the.
that's to be expected. I mean, hell, whenever they did they did a legacy sequel to for the Jay and Silent Bob
Mhm.
movie a few years ago, they did the same thing, but it was just girl versions. I mean, they did the same thing there. I mean, it's just they're doing a different version of the same thing. I mean, hell, how many times have they remade Jurassic Park? I mean, realistically, it's the same story, just a few small differences in the plot.
Mhm.
But whatever. So
I can't.
Supposedly, Lionsgate's last successful film. Now, this is according to Google. Whoever saw the trailer for The Blackening, which was a comedy horror comedy satire film
yeah, I
that
saw
only
that
made
trailer. I
it
know.
literally
I know
only
that
made
movie
17.
flopped too.
It made $17 million off a $5 million budget. Yet somehow
Look
never
at
made
the.
the sequel.
Did you hear about the movie that just came out, The American Society of Magical Negroes?
I just heard that that literally just broke a million on Sunday. That literally just broke a
It made
million.
a it made like $1 million in its opening weekend. Most films do that in a couple hours. The next
know.
week, it made like 79,000 or so. I can't. It
Oh
was
wow!
it made
That's what I'm talking about
nothing.
with Dave Rose. That's what I'm talking about with Dave Rose. They alienated their own
Yeah,
audience by calling literally
yeah,
white people the most
yeah.
dangerous animal in the world in the movie. That's a direct quote
God,
from the movie.
I have been I begged and pleaded. Please, can we review the American Society of Magical Negroes? Just so I can see how many times I can say the American Society of Magical Negroes on YouTube. You can't call me racist because I'm reviewing a movie. That's the only
First,
reason I wanted to do it. So,
Oh
first,
my god. Seriously.
technically,
The,
it's
the
not
last
race.
the
It's
first Sunday, their opening weekend, their opening Sunday. The opening Sunday for that movie literally made $310,000.
yeah, yeah,
It's bad. It's
yeah,
bad,
technically.
and you're alienating most of your audience to not
yeah.
see it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's bad, dude.
I was going to bring
I
something
saw.
up. Like,
I unfortunately saw a
What's up,
trailer
Casey?
for it.
I was going to say I was going to bring something up. I totally forgot what I was going to bring up. We were talking about Bill and Ted, but
Uh huh.
but I totally forgot. But uh,
Well, did you need to find your phone booth and go back in time and remember?
no, that's all right. But oh gosh, but
Wild
I don't.
stallions.
Wow.
Either
But
way,
I
boys,
mean,
I got to hop off of here because my people are kind of annoyed at me for leaving them as long as I did. But I
You're
wanted to
fine.
call in
Have a
for a
good
minute.
one.
But
Have a good one.
yeah, appreciate
either
you
way,
coming by.
so
Welcome.
y'all try not to kill each other. And Casey, when you go jerking it at the movies, make sure you give
I'll
your
see.
how tos. I fully expect within. I'll give you 2 weeks to have your first episode done. I'll be nice.
Oh damn!
So,
Oh wow.
Oh damn!
So
Yeah.
you
2
want it
weeks.
done? You want it done now?
Oh
No, you've
damn!
got two. Dude, you've got 2 weeks to formulate a plan. Call Melissa or homeless Jim. Be like, hey, we're gonna go film a documentary at the movie theater, and yeah, it's gonna be great. So it's all good.
Well, I
But all
appreciate
right,
you.
you boys.
I
Have a good
appreciate
one.
you coming by, Tex.
Yeah, yeah.
Me too.
I gotta go find my pain pills because I'm hurting like a son bitch right now. But
Oh
you
shit!
boys have fun. So
Yeah.
All right, you
I
take.
will talk to y'all later. Bye,
All
bitches.
right, see you. Well, with Tex, on the one of the things I want to do, I want to start wrapping up because, like he said, I'm starting to hurt as well. So, what I'm gonna do, start showing off some of the stuff that I done this week,
Mhm.
and like starting like last week, I had Donkey Kong Jr. It's the NES version versus the Atari 7800.
Mhm.
Did Kool-Aid Man on the Atari 2600. Uh, I got Smurf, and it's just singular, not Smurfs, but Smurf Rescue in Garmel's Castle for the Atari 2600. I changed it up a little bit with this. First time I did a review on this system is called the Evercade Versus.
Mhm.
It's a more modern. It's it's a console that started as a handheld, and it plays off a cartridge, and
Yeah.
eventually made it to a console. And I played Duke Nukem 1 on it. So I will play Duke Nukem 2 remastered, and then I'll play 3D and so on and so forth.
Okay.
And then I did Choplifter that was on the Nintendo Famicom versus the Atari 7800. And for tomorrow, I'm in the middle of finishing this one is Donkey Kong for the Atari 2600.
The original Donkey Kong. Okay.
Yep, yep. And it's not bad. It's not a bad port. I had a little story about that too.
Mhm.
But that's pretty much it. Do you have anything you want to promote before we wrap it up for the night?
I'm teaching my fiance how to play Destiny 2, but that's about it. That's it's a tough task,
Oh yeah.
but we're managing. We're managing.
Oh, hold on. Let's see. I'm looking at something I've hold on. No, not that. I'm looking on this thing on eBay that I was going for. Um Maybe I just didn't win. Let's see. Bids. Eh. Trying to see. I saw it earlier. I was checking my phone. Maybe it's under watched. I've been buying a ton of shit off eBay lately. Luckily, none of my shit got stolen, like off
Mhm.
the porch. But I think after this, I'm probably gonna do recording. Plumbers don't wear ties for the Nintendo Switch, infamous
Mhm.
for the 3DO. Um,
Okay.
so tomorrow I'm planning to go get the gaming laptop, and I know he wanted me to go get a desktop, but the reason I'm leaning more to a gaming laptop is because one, uh, I like having a laptop because one, I could do it easy, like have my setup right here instead of using the phone. Like right now, I'm using the laptop, and also I could hook up my systems so I can do my gameplay more properly. So that's the other reason I wanted something more powerful. So, and then I'm gonna try to get a better internet, but first I want to get a better laptop.
Okay.
So unless you got anything else, let's call it a night.
No, I got nothing.
All right. So for Kratos, for Devious Day Rose and Tex, I am Casey is Raw, and I appreciate you guys coming on with me tonight, watching us. I noticed a lot of people came by when Dave was on, but that's okay. I enjoy having Dave on. He always brings some entertainment. So, well, I'll talk to you guys later. We're getting out of here. You guys have a good. Oh, before we take off, there might be a lesson series tomorrow on the Rose channel, but there might be a potentially postponing it.
Yeah, I think I heard it. I heard it during the pre-show.
Yeah,
when you're on the phone with them.
Yeah. So, I liked your idea about the PSVR 2 idea.
Yeah,
like
literally they had to pause production because nobody's buying the damn thing.
And I can see why, because I'm a owner of the original one. I like it, but there was not a lot of people buying it, and there was quite a bit of games, but it took a while for them to build the games for it. And when they first started out, they were more demos than full-fledged games.
Wow.
Yeah.
Probably didn't want to give people motion sickness moving around that much in the game, possibly.
Well, I mean, they should let you test, have a test unit, see if you're going to have motion sickness. But, like, even the Batman game that was on the PSVR 1, it was not even really a game. It was like a demo that never, like, it was like, and there was no, like, action happening. He was more of the detective version of Batman. So, but I can hopefully we'd be talking about that tomorrow. So, like I say, for everyone from Kratos, Dave, Rose, and Tex, I'm Casey is Raw, and thank you for watching Saturday is Raw 68. And we'll see you next time. You guys have a good day.